What's up, everyone? Mr. NoobTube Gamer. Today we're playing Star Wars Battlefront 1 in 2024, 9 years later. So, this game actually has a lot of players still in 2024. I'm playing on the Xbox One, and I'm able to get 40-player servers, no problem, depending on time of day. I have tested it out multiple times throughout the past week, different days of the week, and obviously people are going to be playing more on the weekends, which is typical for an older game because that's when people have more free time. And if you're playing on like a random Tuesday, you're not going to get as many people playing. But from my experience during the weekdays in Eastern Standard Time, usually around 3 o'clock to 7 or 8 o'clock is when you have the most people online. And you can get full matches of almost all of the game modes, except for Heroes versus Villains. There aren't a lot of people playing, probably because Battlefront 2 has it so much better, because you have a much bigger roster of characters. No reason to play Heroes versus Villains in Battlefront 1. But aside from that, the game is very active on Xbox and PlayStation 4. PC is a completely different story. If you only have PC and you can't play on console, then you shouldn't bother playing this game in 2024 because the PC version is effectively dead. There's nobody online. You're not going to find a match. Don't bother. And unlike Battlefront 2, this game does not have a single-player campaign, so it's really online or nothing when we're talking about Battlefront 1, and that makes the PC version useless and not worth anything. It's been dead on PC for years, ever since Battlefront 2 came out, really. I don't know why. The PC community is just so much smaller than the console version, but it is what it is. What's always made the Battlefront series stand out among the other games is that you can seamlessly transition between first and third person, so depending on the type of situation you're in, it might be better to be in first person or in third person, so it's just great that you have that option, which no other game really gives you. It will kind of feel bare bones. If you played Battlefront 2 before, it just has a lot less content than 2, because Battlefront 2 was a game that got updates over time. I think they stopped updating it in like 2020, but it got a good amount of maps and content over the years that, yeah, it definitely has a lot more than 1. And 1, of course, also only takes place during one era of Star Wars, which is the Galactic Civil War era, so you can only play either as a Stormtrooper or a Rebel, while Battlefront 2 has the Clone Wars and the sequel era, which I don't really care about because it's just a basic reskin of the original trilogy, and you can tell that when you're playing that, yeah, it just doesn't have any distinction to it. But just keep that in mind. If you're a huge prequel fan, you're not going to be able to experience any of that in this game. And the game also doesn't really have as many special characters as you do in Battlefront 2, where you can play, I think there's like 2 heroes that you can have on in one match for each team, while in this game it's only 1 hero. And it's also random how you can actually play as a hero. You have to collect a star card in the middle of the map. They just randomly spawn in the map, and hero, that's one thing. TIE fighters and other special weapons, they're just randomly placed across the map, and that's how you get to use those things, which I honestly prefer over Battlefront 2, where you have to spend points, like the in-game currency in the game, and you have to basically wait. Like, even if you have enough currency, you have to wait for someone to die, pretty much, who's playing as a hero or a special character. And you, like, never get the chance to play as a hero or a villain during most of your matches in Battlefront 2, because someone else always is. So in this game, it's pretty much random to the point where everyone pretty much gets a chance at some point. And me, personally, I prefer that over what Battlefront 2 has, and the star card system is pretty good. It's annoying, though, because everyone always has the jetpack card, and everyone's just flying around all over the place, and it feels like Advanced Warfare, where everyone's just jumping around everywhere, and you can't line up your shots because it's just, yeah, everyone's flying with the jetpack all the time. That's the one part of the game that I could say is very annoying. Too many jetpacks. Other than that, I'd say it's fairly well balanced, and overall a very solid experience in 24. There's no hackers or cheaters to speak of, really. I never run into them personally. The map design is also pretty good. I think the best maps, though, are the DLC, which nobody plays in 2024, but most of the DLC content was ripped into Battlefront 2 anyway, like Scarif and Bespin. So it doesn't really matter. You might as well just play Battlefront 2 if you want to experience the DLC for Battlefront 1. That's the best way to do it, really, in 2024, because, like I said, no one really plays the map packs. Oh yeah, and another big difference between 1 and 2 is that 2 has classes. So you have the assault class, the heavy class, the officer class, and a whole bunch of different ones, while in Battlefront 1, there is no such thing as a class. You can customize your weapons, and you can purchase them with the in-game currency, so that's kind of like your class customization, sort of, and the star card also, you could choose between different ones. Like in this gameplay, I have the jetpack, and I have the rocket launcher, so there is customization, but yeah, it's definitely a lot different than Battlefront 2, where that game has actual classes, and the entire progression system is based off of the cards and the boosters and upgrading certain classes in that game. But Battlefront 1 does not have classes at all, so progression works a lot differently. I think it's honestly a little bit better in 1, personally. I think 2 is pretty good though as well. It's just different. And there really is something for everyone in this game, because if you're more of like a Call of Duty person that just likes these small maps and you don't like these large-scale battles, this game's got you covered because it's got the 6v6 playlist, which has a wide variety of different game modes that are 12 players, and yeah, it's a lot smaller in scope, and it's pretty much like what you would experience in Call of Duty. Obviously, the game doesn't play like Call of Duty, but I think a COD player would enjoy that part of the game. The 6v6 playlist consists of various game modes, including Team Deathmatch, Capture the Flag, stuff that if you're a COD fan are very familiar with and would feel right at home. But if you're someone that likes these massive battles, then you can find matches with that also, which pretty much plays, it's not Conquest, because you do have that in Battlefront 2 where you can capture command posts and that kind of thing, which is pretty much like the Conquest mode in Battlefield. This is more kind of like operations in Battlefield, where you have specific objectives you have to complete, and the battles within the map kind of changes over time. It's a lot like Supremacy in Battlefront 2, where the battle takes place across different phases. Like, if, for example, in the Hoth map, you have to take down the AT-ATs, but the AT-ATs keep moving along the map, and you pretty much, in order for the rebels to win, they have to take down the AT-ATs. In order for the Empire to win, they have to stop the rebels from doing that. So there's always one team playing the offense and another team playing defense, and I know there's some people that don't really like that. Me personally, I always prefer Conquest over Supremacy in Battlefront 2, so not really having that in Battlefront 1 kind of sucks. And I think most people are probably going to just prefer to play Battlefront 2 in 2024, especially with the hackers on PC being gone and the PC version of Battlefront 1 being dead. So if you're a PC gamer, the choice is obvious. And even if you're a console gamer, Battlefront 2 just has so much more content to offer and is a more complete game. This game always felt unfinished to me, even after the DLC was released. But if you're an EA Play subscriber or Game Pass Ultimate subscriber, there's no harm in trying this game out and seeing if you like it. I think if you're a Battlefront 2 player and you were turned off by the game just having way too many vehicles and too many heroes on the battlefield, then you're probably going to prefer this game, because it's definitely a lot more infantry focused than Battlefront 2 is, where that game just feels dominated by vehicles and Jedi and Sith and all that. When this game came out, people labeled it as Star Wars Battlefield instead of Battlefront because DICE obviously developed this game, but it really doesn't play anything like Battlefield at all, and that's coming from someone who's played every single Battlefield game. This has its own unique thing going for it, and it wasn't a very popular game at its time, and it got a lot of hate and negative attention, but it definitely didn't deserve it. It was still a really good game in its own right, and it's still good in 2024.